Hello guys, this is Amol Khedkar. I welcome you to this video. I'm sure you might have heard the news that Lebanon recently had a very big explosion, and the causes are really not yet confirmed. But I really wanted to give you a brief analysis of the history of Lebanon because it's a very small country, but many people might not even know about why exactly Lebanon is in such a big crosshairs. So I will give you a brief history of Lebanon in this video. So let's get started. So, how the Beirut explosion will worsen Lebanon's crisis? Lebanon is already facing a very deep financial crisis that is going on for decades now. There are many hungry people in Lebanon, and it's just going to get worse after this explosion. So, as you can see here, it's a very massive thing, and you can see so many cranes here. It's almost like 20 cranes that are just trying to, you know, uh, get rid of the rubble after the explosion. Black smoke rises from burning buildings following a large explosion at the port of Beirut in Beirut, Lebanon on Tuesday, August 4, 2020. An explosion at Lebanon's main port rocked the capital, Beirut, and its suburbs, sending plumes of smoke into the skyline. Lebanon is no stranger to turmoil and devastation. As I just told you, Lebanon is a very destabilizing country for a long time. The small country straddles the geopolitical fault lines of the Middle East and endured a 15-year civil war that ended in 1990. In the latest blow, a massive blast ripped through the port in its capital, Beirut, on August 4, killing at least 100 people, injuring 4,000 more, and damaging buildings across the city. Officials have said it was caused by the detonation of chemicals stored there, without saying whether it was an accident or an attack. The tragedy piles yet another layer of hardship on a country already reeling from its worst financial crisis in decades and struggling to contain a burgeoning coronavirus outbreak. So this coronavirus madness is going on. It has literally, country has many financial crises as well, and now this attack. So it's like a triple whammy that is forced onto Lebanon, and it's a very small country, and it is in the Middle East. And I've seen reports where they were saying that the sound of the explosion was heard in Cyprus and in Syria as well. So literally, the sound of the explosion went to different countries because Lebanon is just a small country. How will the explosion affect the economy? The badly damaged port city is Lebanon's largest maritime gateway, and while the second biggest port, Tripoli, has been designated as the alternative, authorities are worried how the import dependent country will bring in badly needed food, medical supplies, and other goods. So just look at the insanity of this, that this is the largest port in the country, and it is now completely damaged, so they cannot even bring in food supplies. Lebanon has already been struggling under the weight of its economic meltdown with the rapid devaluation of the local currency and a volatile exchange rate on the black market fueling inflation, shuttering businesses, and plunging many people into unemployment and poverty. Imports have become prohibitively expensive as a result, forcing the central bank to dip into its reserves to subsidize wheat, fuel, and medicine. Fuel shortages and bread lines have become common. So, there are food shortages, fuel shortages, there is unemployment, poverty, I mean, whatnot. I mean, it's like everything at once, and now there's blast. So, it's a, pretty sad situation, and I really hope, they get out of this. Will the blast fuel social unrest? So, if you know about the Arab Spring, Lebanon was also embroiled into the Arab Spring in 2011, but it did not cause any overthrow of government in Lebanon at that point. The calamity is the worst Lebanon has suffered in many years, and citizens already fed up with government mismanagement are furious that the blast originated from ammonium nitrate, equal to 1800 tons of TNT stored at the port. Prior to this explosion, one of the deadliest single incidents Lebanon had suffered was the truck bombing of the US Marine compound in Beirut in October 1983, which killed 241 servicemen. So, just compare this to the bombing that happened literally in 1983. before even I was born. So literally, 38 years back, something like this happened, and this is the biggest blast after almost 37 to 38 years. Lebanon was rocked in October 2019 by a bout of nationwide protests against corruption, economic mismanagement, and sectarian politics, which forced the resignation of the Prime Minister Saad Hariri. So, this happened just 1 year back in October 2019, that there were nationwide protests against corruption, economic mismanagement, and sectarian politics, and the prime minister had resigned after that. And even the finance minister resigned just 2 days back. So, yeah, the country is in complete shambles. So, even Macron had gone to Lebanon just now. I heard the news. And, France is just trying to, in my opinion, France is just trying to gain some footage over here. Though the unrest has tapered off, the growing economic crisis and sharply rising prices brought angry demonstrators out to the streets again in June. Can Lebanon get help? So, after defaulting on a Eurobond repayment in March, Lebanon has embarked on talks with the International Monetary Fund for a 10 billion loan program. Negotiations have stalled as Lebanese officials struggle to agree on the scale of losses in the financial system and implement the reforms necessary to unlock the funds. Gulf countries that had previously funneled money to Lebanon are wary that further aid may fall into the hands of the Iran backed Hezbollah militant group. So Lebanon is again like a proxy war sort of thing that is fought between the Shias and the Sunnis, particularly the Saudi Arabia and the Iran factions, which is the age-old Cold War in the Middle East. So even Yemen is in this kind of clutches. So so many Gulf countries are not giving money to Lebanon because they feel that it will go to Hezbollah, which is the Iran-backed militant group, and even IMF is not able to send money to Lebanon because they have defaulted on the loans before. So it's a pretty sad situation because they are not able to get loans now, and so I don't know what else to say, but people are dying, people are hungry, and it's a very sad thing. France said it would send medical supplies and doctors. The United Arab Emirates pledged 30 tons of medical aid, and Germany offered members of its armed forces to aid search operations. Can hospitals handle a disaster and a pandemic at the same time? Beirut's hospitals are overwhelmed. I mean, there's no surprise. Definitely, Beirut's hospitals are overwhelmed, and some were badly damaged in the blast. Some patients were being treated in parking lots, and the health minister said field hospitals were being set up. It's a really sad and a really devastating thing that has happened to Lebanon, so I really wanted to cover this topic. For over a year, medical practitioners have warned that the government's failure to pay money it owes hospitals was endangering public health, and the coronavirus outbreak only made matters worse. So, this is how mismanaged the country is, and that's why people are protesting just a year back. Medical practitioners have warned that the government's failure to pay money it owes to hospitals was endangering public health, and the coronavirus outbreak only made matters worse. There were 65 virus deaths and 5,271 cases registered in the country by August 5, according to Johns Hopkins University of Coronavirus Research Resource Center. Public hospitals have limited intensive care capacity and have at times been forced to turn off air conditioning and delay surgeries due to fuel shortages. So, just imagine this madness. We take many things for granted, but literally, people had to, delay intensive care facility. They had to turn off the air conditioning and delay surgeries because of fuel shortages. It's really devastating. What state is the government in? I mean, the government is in complete shambles, and that's why people are just so fed up. Prime Minister Hassan Diab described the blast as a major national disaster and said the depot housing the ammonium nitrate had been there since 2014. He pledged punishment for those responsible. Lebanon's Foreign Minister Nasif Hitti resigned on August 3, the day before the port explosion, accusing colleagues of lacking any intention to institute meaningful reforms and warning that conflicting interests threaten to turn the country into a failed state. So, as I said, Lebanon is literally like a failed state at this point, just like Pakistan, and that's why even the foreign minister resigned just a day before. Even the finance minister had resigned. The prime minister is in literally shambles. So, yeah, it's it's like a no man's land, to be honest. Hitti had been in the post less than 7 months, and his departure after so short a time reflected the frictions paralyzing the government. So this guy has been on the post for just 1 month, for like less than 7 months, sorry, and his departure after so short a time reflected the frictions paralyzing the government. So this is what is happening in Lebanon right now, and I really wanted to give you a detailed analysis and to give you a history, a brief history of Lebanon. They had the Sykes-Picot line that was drawn in the Middle East, and Lebanon, went to the French part of the Sykes-Picot agreement, and that's why Macron is in Lebanon at this point. Macron is in Beirut at this point because French is spoken in Lebanon, and Lebanon is a French-speaking country, and I've seen many people from Lebanon even in Canada because Quebec province of Canada is a predominantly French speaking province. So I'll stop talking here. If you like my analysis of this article, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.